If you're sitting in the C-suite of a financial institution right now, you know the ground beneath traditional banking is literally shifting under your feet. Today, we're breaking down a critical white paper on the explosive rise of mobile banking. Consider this your strategic briefing for the future of your institution. We're going to bypass the basic tech talk today and look directly at the trends, the existential challenges, and the multi-million-dollar growth opportunities that will absolutely define your market share over the coming decade. Okay, let's dive right into this. A simple contactless tap. Just a few years ago, this was a neat little novelty. Today, it represents a massive shift in market adoption and technological advancement. It is the literal battleground for the future of finance. Every single time a customer taps their screen instead of handing over a physical card, they are interacting with a vast, invisible infrastructure. And the multi-million-dollar question is, whose infrastructure are they using? Yours or nimble disruptors? So, here's our roadmap for this briefing. First, the state of mobile banking. Then, balancing security with competitive pressure. Next, the AI and 5G disruption. After that, ecosystems and strategic partnerships. And finally, your C-suite action plan. All right, part one. The state of mobile banking. The sheer velocity of change we're seeing here is frankly staggering. While established demographics show a steady, predictable utilization of mobile banking, the growth happening in emerging markets is explosive. It is practically vertical. Here's a wild fact. In many of these regions, consumers are completely skipping traditional bank accounts altogether. The unbanked and underbanked populations aren't walking into brick-and-mortar branches. Their very first banking experience is happening right there on a smartphone. For you as an executive, this isn't just a fun statistic. It's a ticking clock. This represents a massive expansion opportunity for global inclusion and, of course, entirely new revenue streams. And that brings us to the trends actually driving this adoption. Listen, fintech disruptors have completely changed the game. They aren't bogged down by decades-old legacy systems, which means they're forcing traditional banks to either innovate or, well, die. Their primary weapon in all this? AI-driven personalization. Customers today don't just want a static digital ledger. No way. They expect a hyper-personalized banking experience, one that anticipates their financial needs, categorizes their spending in real time, and instantly offers tailored financial products. Moving on to part two, security versus competitive pressure. Okay, we really need to ground ourselves here. The existential threats facing your mobile platforms are basically a three-headed monster. Escalating security risks, incredibly strict regulatory compliance, and just relentless competitive pressure. For the C-suite leaders tuning in, to protect your market share, you absolutely must navigate these friction points perfectly. You are walking a tightrope every single day. Move too fast and you risk a catastrophic security breach or a massive regulatory fine. But if you move too slow, your customers will simply download a competitor's app in 30 seconds flat. So the crucial point is how you actually overcome that competitive pressure while keeping everything strictly compliant. The answer? The UX imperative. Your mobile banking platform can have literal bank vault security, but if it takes a user 6 taps and a physical security token just to check their balance, they're going to abandon it. Overcoming market pressure means prioritizing flawless user experience and accessibility features. Your banking app shouldn't feel like a clunky utility. It needs to mimic the frictionless, premium feel of the best lifestyle smartphone apps on the market. All right, section 3, the AI and 5G disruption. Think about the legacy retail banking model for a second. Even when it's digitized, it relies heavily on slow data relays and completely siloed applications. But compare that to the 5G disruptive banking model. 5G is not just about faster downloads on your phone. It enables real-time Internet of Things, or IoT connectivity. Imagine a world where your customer's smart car pays for its own toll, authorized instantly by your banking platform, leveraging hyper-personalization without them ever tapping a single screen. That is exactly how 5G is going to completely upend future retail banking models. And fueling that entire 5G future? Artificial intelligence. But let me be perfectly clear. AI is not just for making cute, customer-facing chatbots. It provides the internal, data-driven insights necessary to drastically improve your top-level executive decision-making. By leveraging AI to analyze massive sets of mobile transaction data, your leadership team can actually predict market shifts, dynamically adjust risk models, and spot high-growth strategic opportunities long before your competitors even know what's happening. Let's move on to Section 4, Ecosystems and Strategic Partnerships. Let's see how this builds step by step, because this evolution is strictly required for survival. Step 1 is the closed legacy bank, a siloed institution trying to build everything in-house. Frankly, that model is dead. Step 2 is forming strategic fintech partnerships. Instead of spending 5 painful years trying to build a mediocre budgeting tool internally, you partner with a nimble fintech that already has a best-in-class solution. And step 3 is the ultimate goal, building an open innovation ecosystem. This is where your institution actually becomes a platform, securely integrating third-party financial services to create an indispensable, sustainable hub for your customers' entire financial life. Now, this white paper grounds these theories firmly in reality with some fascinating case studies. Take a successful agile partnership, for example. A traditional bank integrating a leading fintech's API so they can instantly offer micro-investing right inside their existing app. The result? A massive spike in Gen Z user retention and a newly engaged demographic. On the flip side, we see the harsh lessons learned from institutions that suffered catastrophic digital setbacks. The common denominator in those failures? Arrogance and isolation. But the common denominator in the successes, an openness to strategic partnerships and an absolute obsession with solving end-user friction points. Which brings us to our final section, the C-Suite Action Plan. Consider this executive recommendations matrix your new boardroom checklist. This outlines exactly where millions in technology infrastructure need to be allocated right now. Number 1, aggressive investment in tech, specifically prepping your architecture for 5G and AI integration. Number 2, strengthening security and compliance, but doing it without compromising your agility. Number 3, enhancing the customer experience. UX has to be a board-level priority, not just an IT afterthought. And number 4, aggressively pursuing strategic partnerships to build out your ecosystem. Seriously, if your quarterly goals don't map directly to these 4 quadrants, your strategy is already out of date. The insights from this white paper paint a crystal clear picture. The technology is already here, and your competitors, they're already moving. This shift to mobile isn't some distant future phase. It is our current reality. So the question you have to ask yourself and your board is simply this. Will your institution take the strategic steps necessary to lead the mobile banking revolution, or are you going to hesitate and become a legacy footnote? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this strategic briefing.